According to a TWT follower, Courtney Owen recently went live and was apparently talking to the barista at the coffee shop about her social media success. Might we add, she only had 3 viewers on the entire live. According to one viewer, the barista said, "Don't you work at the dealership?" Courtney replied to her saying she only worked at the dealership to get out of the house and that due to her social media success, lol, that she didn't need to work at all. Interesting. I wonder what the folks there at the YWCA would think about this claim, considering they've been paying the rent in her new apartment she's been sharing on her TikTok. Now, we thought Courtney first reached out to that organisation when Hale broke up with her, but it turns out Courtney hasn't paid her own rent in quite some time. Actually, it turns out that even when she was with Mel, her parents were paying her half of the rent for her. After she broke up with Mel, she got in touch with the DV organisation who got her a new apartment and were paying her rent for her. But then later on, they asked her for proof that Shiloh's dad didn't want anything to do with her. Proof, of course, that she couldn't provide because it wasn't true. So they cut her off. This was the same place that she invited Hale to move into. Then once they found a new house, she conned Hale into paying 100% of the rent so that she could pay all her debts off. After he dumped her, and yes, don't let her fool you, he dumped her.
Oh, I heard he dumped you. He dumped you big. It was just like a big, huge dumping.
She once again reached out to a domestic violence organisation to have them find her a place and pay her rent for her. She tried to claim that Hale was trying to take Shiloh and that he has physically and mentally abused Courtney, all to get someone to pay her rent. Hale had broken up with Courtney and she'd gone back to live with her parents. She was not isolated and she was absolutely not suffering from domestic abuse. And Courtney herself even confirmed this on several lives when she apologised for the way she treated Hale post-breakup, talking about his transition to her followers.
I don't want people going in his DMs and saying, "Oh, look what Courtney said," or sending him what I've done, what I've said. I really, really want to be respectful to him right now and let him have his space. Because, guys, he's not a bad person. He's a really good one, actually. He is a really good person, and he's been through a lot in his life, and he deserves to just have some peace. Hale has not raised his voice at me once. He has not lifted a finger at me once.
According to several sources, these guys helped her get an apartment and have been paying her rent on it. But Courtney, aren't you making $80,000 a year? Why on earth would you need to illegally obtain financial assistance from a DV group if you're making so much money? Not to mention that Courtney's parents completely fund Shiloh. Remember last year on a live, she said they paid for all of her books and back-to-school items and her clothing. So not only did her dad have to bail her out and get her a car, someone else is paying her rent for her. An organisation that's put in place to help out domestic violence victims when she admitted herself that Hale was never abusive to her. Courtney claims on her TikTok that she is out to help DV victims by sharing her story, yet here she is taking funds that she isn't entitled to and claims that she doesn't need them because she makes so much money. But what's even more disgusting is that this organisation is funding the cost for her to move to California to escape her DV situation, which is pretty wild considering that Hale announced long before this that he was moving to California to be with his new girlfriend. Wow, having a DV group hand over money to you so you can stalk your poor ex who just wants to move on with his life. Pretty low act, right? So this woman who is pushing 30 is on TikTok bragging about an apartment she doesn't pay for, a car she doesn't pay for, and a child she doesn't provide for. And she's out here calling everyone else names. Now that is bold.